I have known Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada since I met Senator Jinggoy Estrada through the social circles of Senator Bong Revilla. We usually had encounters during social gatherings of people in the movie industry. We developed a close relationship. Sometime in 2010, when I was Assistant Regional Director of DPW's Region 4A, Senator Jinggoy was backing me to become a Regional Director. When I failed to become a Regional Director, I applied for the position of City Engineer, and Senator Jinggoy was one of those who recommended me. When he was incarcerated, I would visit him, but sometimes together with then City Mayor Joseph Erap Estrada. Sometime in 2023, Senator Jinggoy requested Secretary Bonoan through me for projects worth 500 million. Secretary Bonoan agreed to give 450 million for the DPW's NCR building, which Yusek Cabral included in the NEP for 2024, with an 18% commitment for Senator Jinggoy. Senator Jinggoy called me sometime in the third quarter of 2024 and asked me to request the amount of 1 billion from Sec Bonoan. Senator Jinggoy said, "Tulungan mo na lang ako dyan kasi marami pa akong tutulungan sa eleksyon." I replied, "Okay na ba ang 25% Sen?" Sen Jinggoy responded, "Okay na ang 25%. I relayed to Sec Bonoan the request of Sen Jinggoy. The former then asked me to prepare a list of projects for the latter. In turn, I asked Engineer Gerard Opalencia for a list of projects. When Engineer Opalencia gave me the list, I gave it to Secretary Bonoan, who told me that he will give the same to Yusek Cabral and that the latter will take care of it. At the moment, I cannot locate the list or a copy thereof. Later on, I saw that some of these projects totaling 500 million and included in the list I gave to Sec Bonoan were listed in the NEP for that year. These projects, as appearing in the NEP, are enumerated in a list here to attach as Annex I hereof. Thereafter, Senator Jinggoy called me and asked me what happened to the difference of 500 million. I relayed this to Sec Bonoan. The latter replied that he will prioritize the matter as soon as there is available funding. Subsequently, I found out that the projects totaling 200 million were included in the HGAB for 2025. These projects, as appearing in the HGAB, are listed Annex J hereof. However, Senator Jinggoy called me again for the difference of 300 million to complete the 1 billion project value that was requested. During the BICAM, projects worth 750 million were again included in the projects to eventually form part of the 2025 GAA. The said projects are enumerated in a list here to attach as Annex K. The total budget for the projects which appeared in the 2025 GAA is approximately 1.45 billion, more or less. After Engineer Opalencia collected the 25% commitment, approximately 360 million, and delivered the same to Diamond Hotel in Manila. Thereafter, I tasked my driver to deliver the boxes to Sen Jinggoy at the Artiaga building in San Juan City. Senator Jinggoy personally confirmed to me his receipt of the commitment and thanked me for the same. During the 2024 budget hearing for 2025 GAA, Engineer Alcantara informed me that Senator Jinggoy gave him funding amounting to 355 million for Bulacan First DEO and 500 million from other districts in Bulacan and requested that he, Engineer Alcantara, prepare lists of projects. The said projects are enumerated in a list here to attach as Annexes L and L-1 respectively. Later on, sometime in the first quarter of 2025, Senator Jinggoy asked me to get the 25% commitment for the aforesaid list of projects from Engineer Alcantara. Engineer Alcantara then delivered to me the 25% commitment, approximately 213 million, which I delivered to Senator Jinggoy at the Artiaga building in San Juan City. Senator Grace Poe. Sometime third quarter of 2024, J.Y. De La Rosa, a staff of Senator Grace Poe, requested Sec Bonoan through me if Senator Grace Poe can be accommodated in the DPW's NEP. Sec Bonoan told me there is a 500 million for Senator Grace Poe and instructed me to ask the Senator for a list of projects. J.Y. De La Rosa told me to coordinate the matter with Mrs. Patron, a contractor. Mrs. Patron told me to prepare the list. Upon my instructions, Engineer Gerard Opalencia submitted a consolidated list of the following projects, 1 in Laguna and 3 in NCR. These projects are indicated in the list here to attach as Annex M. Thereafter, the list of projects was included in the NEP by Sec Bonoan through Yusek Cabral. Later on, the said projects appeared in the GAA for 2025. There was a 20% commitment collected for Senator Grace Poe. Mrs. Patron, a contractor, collected the commitment for Sen Grace Poe at Diamond Hotel from one of my aides. Congresswoman Mary Mitzi Mitch Kahayon Uy. There were projects released in Congresswoman Kahayon Ui's congressional district, which I facilitated. I submitted projects being proposed by her to proponents for funding, the details of which I am still verifying and confirming at the moment. Congressman Florida Robes. There were also projects released in Congresswoman Florida Robes' congressional district, which I facilitated. I submitted projects being proposed by her to proponents for funding, the details of which I'm still verifying and confirming at the moment. Congressman Zaldico. In addition to my statements in my affidavit dated 25 of September 2025, I was told by Engineer Alcantara, Congressman Zaldi would from time to time deal also with engineers Gerard Pacanan, Gerard Opulencia, and Danny Villa. There were times Engineer Gerard Pacanan and Gerard Opulencia would give me certain amounts, supposedly from Congressman Zaldico. Yusek Traigib Olivar of DepEd. In addition to my statements in my affidavit dated 25 of September 2025, I wish to add that I have known Yusek Traigib as early as 2010 when he was still a staff of Senator Bong Revilla. He is a common figure in budget deliberation hearings and by reason of which I had interacted with him on multiple occasions. Yusek Traigib then worked under the office of Senator Edgardo Angara and then later worked under the office of Senator Sani Angara. When Senator Sani Angara became a chairman of Finance, Yusek Traigib and I would have several interactions as part of our work in budget preparations. When Senator Revilla was incarcerated with Senator Jinggoy Estrada, Yusek Traigib and I would frequently call each other so we can help look after the welfare of concerns of Senator Revilla, whom I visited several times with Senator Jinggoy Estrada while they were in detention. Aside from the details I had earlier mentioned in my affidavit dated 25 of September 2025, Yusek Traigib and I also had transactions concerning Senator Angara between 2019 and 2024, where Yusek Traigib received deliveries representing 12% of the projects of Senator Sani Angara, while the latter was chairman of Finance. As I previously mentioned in my affidavit dated 25 of September 2025, Yusek Olivar and I discussed the unprogrammed appropriations supposedly for the Office of the Executive Secretary. Thereafter, DPWH received a special allotment release order, which included projects worth 2.85 billion. The contract IDs for the projects worth 2.85 billion covered by the said SARO can be secured from the records of DPWH Regional Office for Region 3 and the 1st District Engineering Office of Bulacan. Moreover, in the unprogrammed allocation for 2025, there could have been an additional 12 billion more or less funding, which I am verifying and confirming at the moment. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar and Yusek Cabral. I was appointed Assistant Secretary of DPWH by former President Rodrigo Duterte in 2016 during the term of DPWH Secretary Mark Villar. As Assistant Secretary for Operations, I was assigned over the Visayas regions. While I was Assistant Secretary for Operations, I was introduced to Carlo Aguilar, a cousin of Sec Mark Villar. Yusek Cabral was already the Undersecretary for Planning Service when I became Assistant Secretary. As Undersecretary for Planning Service, Yusek Cabral was working closely with Sec Mark Villar for the allocation, listing, and budgeting of all the DPWH infrastructure projects. While I was Assistant Secretary, I was also later designated as Chairman of the Central Bids and Awards Committee, Central BAC. In the later part of 2017, I was promoted to Undersecretary of the DPWH during the incumbency of Senator Mark Villar and took my oath of office as Undersecretary before him. In the first quarter of 2018, I was designated as Undersecretary for Operations for NCR, 4B, and the 3 Visayas regions. Upon my request, I was replaced as Chairman Central BAC sometime in February 2020 because of political intrigues, as I was reportedly siding with then City of Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, who was vocal against then President Rodrigo Duterte. All of this time, the funding of all projects was cleared through Yusek Cabral for approval by Sec Mark Villar. From time to time, Yusek Cabral would ask me to submit detailed list of projects with regards to lump sum fund allocations of DPWH, which list she sometimes would approve herself or forward to Sec Mark Villar for approval. Among others, this included EDSA and other major roads, project allocations, maintenance of creeks and waterways, etc. The commission for these approved projects was 10% and divided as follows: 50% to Carlo Aguilar, presumably for Sec Mark Villar, 25% Yusek Cabral, 25% for myself. Undersecretary Maria Catalina E. Cabral. As a general rule, with very little exceptions, It is Yusek Maria Catalina Cabral with the imprimatur of Secretary Mark Villar and later continued by Sec Manny Bunoan, who had control at the DPWH level to remove, include, add, deduct, or modify insertions of items in the NEP for infrastructure or those pertaining to DPWH. Yusek Cabral would tell me that she would communicate and meet legislators to inform them of the amount of their allocations and ask them for titles of projects that they want to include in the DPWH budget. In a matrix of process flow that I have prepared, which I am attaching here to as Annex N, Yusek Cabral has total influence and authority in preparing and finalizing the NEP for infrastructure. On multiple occasions, I personally delivered and also caused to be delivered cash to Yusek Cabral at her house at Tatalon, Quezon City, and other places. DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan. DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan is a long-time DPWH official who has held top positions through different administrations. I look up to Sec Bunoan and consider him as a mentor. I treasure his guidance and friendship over the years. Prior to Sec Bunoan's assumption as Secretary of DPWH, I was the Undersecretary for Operations and Planning for NCR Visayas, having assumed the said position in 2018. Unlike during the time of Sec Mark Villar, when I was not given much task, even removed as back chairman, and had very limited operational functions during the COVID pandemic period, Sec Bunoan entrusted me with more operational functions and let me work more closely with Yusek Cabral. Sometime in 2022, Sec Bunoan directed me to submit a list of projects for possible inclusion in the NEP for fiscal year 2023 worth around 450 million. Without question and delay, I asked Bulacan First DEO for a list of projects for funding. Thereafter, Engineer Alcantara submitted to me a list of projects for funding under the NEP. Those projects are indicated in the list here to attach as Annex O. In compliance with this order, I forwarded the list to Sec Bunoan. He told me that Undersecretary for Planning Maria Catalina Cati Cabral shall facilitate and ensure the inclusion of these projects in the NEP. Engineer Alcantara gave the 10% of the value of the projects. Similarly, in 2023, Sec Bunoan directed me to submit a list of projects for possible inclusion in the NEP for fiscal year 2024 worth around 150 million. Again, without question and delay, I asked Bulacan First DEO for a list of projects for funding. Thereafter, Engineer Alcantara submitted to me a list of projects for funding under the NEP. Those projects are indicated in the list here to attach as Annex P. In compliance with this order, I forwarded the list to Sec Bunoan. In compliance with this order, I forwarded the list to Sec Bunoan. Sec Bunoan said that Yusek Cabral shall again facilitate and ensure the inclusion of these projects in the NEP. 24. Sec Bunoan also directed me to submit a list of projects for possible inclusion in the NEP for fiscal year 2025 for the amount of 900 million. I asked Bulacan First DEO for a list of projects for funding. Thereafter, Engineer Alcantara submitted to me a list of projects for funding under the NEP. Those projects are indicated in the list here to attach as Annex Q. In compliance with this order, I forwarded the list to Sec Bunoan. Sec Bunoan said that Yusek Cabral shall again facilitate and ensure the inclusion of these projects in the NEP. Engineer Alcantara gave 20% of the value of the projects. With respect to the commitments collected by Engineer Alcantara narrated above, Secretary Bunoan and I received a percentage. In many instances, during budget deliberations, I was tasked by Sec Bunoan to talk to legislators over their funding and other concerns, and to forward these concerns to Yusek Cabral for action and resolution. Sec Bunoan and Yusek Cabral. Every year, including years 2023, 2024, and 2025, Yusek Cati Cabral apportions the budget ceiling for the DPWH's allocable NEP among the districts according to the endorsed programs, activities, and projects, PAPs. Although she would make it appear that 100% allocable NEP had been apportioned, Yusek Cati Cabral would reserve a substantial percentage of that allocable NEP for her and Sec Bunoan's preferred projects. Sec Manny Bunoan would from time to time ask me to take charge of part of his own reserve allocations. The value of the projects that I handled for SEC Bunoan was at least 5 billion per annum for the years 2023, 2024, and 2025, with an average of 15% commitment. Of this 15% average commitment, SEC Bunoan, 75% usually would give, of this 15% average commitment, SEC Bunoan, 75%, usually would give me 25% of the commitment, with the rest of the commitment shared between him and Yusek Kati Cabral. Yusek Kati Cabral herself took charge of her own reserve allocations. Once again, I humbly reserve the right to submit another supplementary affidavit if warranted in the premises. I attest to the truth of the foregoing statements based on my personal knowledge and authentic records. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. The Vice Chairman, Senator Erwin Tulfo, you may reclaim your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay. Aside from the tables attached as annexes, may iba ka pa bang ebidensya na magpapatunay po sa inyong sinumpaang salaysay?
Mr. Chair, I would of course, I may submit additional documents po pagka po na retrieve from the records. Meron po.
All right. Mr. Chair, babalikan ko po si Engineer Bernardo. Ang tanong ko lamang po at tanong ng mga kababayan natin, napapansin po kasi nila na isa-isa ng mga opisyal, dating opisyal sa DPWH, maging ang ilang mambabatas, ay tumatakbo po sa ibang bansa. How do we stop this flight, Mr. Chair? Kasi baka darating po ang araw, wala na po tayong maimbestigahan, wala na po mapapanagot dahil lahat po sila ay nasa ibayong dagat na. Paano po yun, Mr. Chair? Do we have any plans? Do we have any actions para... I know, Mr. Chair, hindi natin pwedeng pigilan po yan dahil yan po ay karapatan naman nila. Pero dahil may investigasyon po nangyayari, ito po yung accountability, Mr. Chair.
You may address your question to the DOJ representative. I think the Prosecutor General, Richard Padulyon, is here. Kindly
Thank you,
respond.
Mr. Chair. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I believe that while we want all of these personalities who are involved or mentioned in the investigations to just stay in the country during the course of the investigations, we cannot at this time, Mr. Chair, prevent them from traveling because what we can only issue as far as the Department of Justice is a lookout bulletin. A lookout bulletin operates only to check on the records of the passenger who would want to leave, but it would not prevent them from being able to leave the country. There is no legal impediment for them to leave because it would be violative of their constitutional right. However, if I may be bold enough to suggest, Mr. Chair, in answer to the question of the good senator, yes, there are investigations which are being undertaken at this time, and while I understand that cancellation of passports can only be done if, for example, there are cases which are already filed, and this can only be done through the courts. I believe that representations can probably be made by the investigating bodies with the executive branch, that would be the Department of Foreign Affairs, to possibly hold or possibly cancel passports of those who are undertaking or undergoing investigations, Mr. Chair.
Linawin ko lang, Mr. Chair, parang pwede lang yatang kanselahin ang mga passports ng mga ito kapag sila po'y nakasuhan na. Pero what I'm talking about, yung hindi pa po nakakasuhan. Kasi it is not enough, yung lookout bulletin, wala naman hong saysay yun eh. Kahit na nandoon siya sa lookout bulletin, pwede niya sabihin, wala pa naman ho akong kaso. The only way to stop that person is kung may hold departure order, which we know kung may kaso na. So, ano hong pwede bukod dyan na sinasabi sa lookout bulletin? Are you suggesting na the DFA kanselahin ang passport? But can we do that? Wala pa naman po silang kaso and it will violate their constitutional rights.
I understand, Mr. Chair, if I may, sir, answer the question. I agree with you totally that there is no basis to cancel the passports up until the time that there are cases which are filed as against them and there are representations or there's an order issued by the court allowing for the cancellation. But the question earlier was with respect to what can be done at this time while there are no cases which have been filed. The only solution that I can find for this particular predicament, Mr. Chair, is for us to fast-track the filing of the cases, or for cases to be fast-tracked so far as investigations are concerned before the Office of the Secretary of Justice and before the Office of the Ombudsman. And then, and only then, once these cases are filed in court and warrants are issued, can we move for the cancellation of the passports. In the meantime, the suggestion that I made earlier was just a suggestion, Mr. Chair, if only to address the concern of what can be done in the meantime when there are no cases yet which are filed in court.
Kailan po kayo magpa-file ng mga kaso? Kailan po natin makikita na ang DOJ ay magsasampa na po ng kaso?
Cases are already being investigated right now, Mr. Chair. There are 5 cases for flood control projects, ghost projects, which are undergoing preliminary investigation at the moment. There are several cases also which are undergoing evaluation by the Department of Justice. I believe there are also cases which are also pending before the Office of the Ombudsman, Mr. Chair. We expect to terminate the preliminary investigation of the first 5 cases probably within the first week of December or by the middle of December, sir.
To know kung ito po mga cases that will be filed by the DOJ ay mga officials lang po ito ng DPWH, former officials and contractors. Meron po bang kasamang mga politiko na rito?
As of this time, Mr. Chair, as far as the first 5 cases which are undergoing investigation, it involves only officials of the DPWH, particularly those in District 1 in Bulacan, sir.
All right. My next question is, Mr. Chair, alam kong sinusundan nyo rin po at ano na ho nangyari? I don't know if you can answer this, Attorney Fadulyon, kayo po sa DOJ. Nasaan na po yung ating witness na si Ginoong Guteza? Because yung kanya pong testimony ay napakalaki po. Lahat po tayo nagimbal dito. So we want to find out, is he okay? Where is he at? Is he still alive? Is he dead? Ano ho nangyari?
Mr. Chair, Department of Justice would not be in any position to ascertain the whereabouts of Mr. Gutesa. As far as we know, he did testify here in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, but the Department of Justice never had any interaction with him after that particular testimony. There was no representation made as to his interest in being covered by the program or being granted any protection. And we know for a fact that the intervention by the Witness Protection Program is something which is done voluntarily by the one who is making the application. Inasmuch as there was no application made, we have not had, since the time of his testimony here before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, any interaction with Mr. Gutesa. So we would not be in a position to say where he is right now or what his condition is, sir.
Mr. Chair, may I ask the Secretariat if we sent out a subpoena or invitation to Mr. Gutesa? Because I'm concerned po. I mean, he made a lot of revelations here during the last meeting when he was here. So we want to find out at gusto ho natin siyang tanungin, where did you get all this information? Pero tila wala ho siya. Now, did we invite him?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman. We sent an invitation to his known address, no? Nakalagay sa kanyang driver's license sa Taguig. Pero even when the investigation was conducted by the executive judge, wala na po siya doon sa kanyang known address, last known address. So what we did in the Blue Ribbon Committee, we sought the assistance of the Honorable Marcoleta kung sakaling meron siyang contact o may sa darating na panahon magkakaroon siya ng contact ay tulungan niya tayo na malocate at para makapag-testify na muli si Technical Sergeant Gutesa. So ang sagot po ni Honorable Marcoleta, wala rin po siyang contact kay Orly Gutesa.
Isa pang katanungan dyan, Mr. Chair, at nagtatanong po yung mga kababayan ho natin, ano po ang mangyayari ngayon sa kanyang salaysay? Are we going to submit it? Dahil kung tayo po ay mag-wind down na dito po sa ating investigation, are we going to submit it to ICI, Mr. Chair?
The sinumpang salaysay remains valid as far as the Blue Ribbon Committee is concerned. Ano? Nagkaroon lang naman siya ng problema doon sa kanyang pagkanotaryo. And hindi naman po siya sumipot sa DOJ, sa Ombudsman, even sa ICI. So wala po tayong magagawa doon. But as far as the committee is concerned, pag tayo po ay nag-submit ng ating committee report, yung kanyang sinumpaan sa Laysay, as I mentioned earlier, remains valid kasi yun naman ay sinumpaan niya ng bukod, no, dito sa harapan ng komite.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And now I direct my question to Yusek Bernardo. Yusek Bernardo, or Engineer Bernardo. Common practice po ang bentahan ng mga pondo sa lower house. Alam po natin yan. Alam po ninyo yan. Ikaw po ba ay naalok na rin ng pondo for flood control ng mga mambabatas? I know you've been talking about senators, may mga congressman. Pero ikaw po ba ay nabentahan na ng pondo para sa flood control?
Mr. Chair, as far as I can recall, I cannot remember any time na bentahan po ako niyan sapagkat I think the legislators in the lower house have their own way of dealing with projects, especially to the district engineers and contractors.
So, sa district engineer po ang nagkakaroon ng transaction between the lawmaker at saka yung district engineer. Tama po ba ang pagkaintindi ko?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. As far as I know po, puro ganun po.
All right. Walk us through, Engineer Bernardo. Pag nagbaba na po ng pondo, ng budget, ang isang politiko, congressman man yan, sa district, ano po ang nangyayari? Siya rin po ba, tama po ba na siya rin po ang nagsasabi, nagdidictate, ito ang kontratista na gusto kong panalunin mo because siya yung kontratista ang magbibigay ng komisyon kay congressman o sa politiko. Tama po ba yun? Can you walk us through after na ibaba yung pondo ng mababatas doon sa distrito? What is happening? And walk us through hanggang sa makuha ng politiko yung kanyang komisyon or kickback.
Mr. Chair, I'm very sorry to be of direct ano po sa ganyang mga proseso sapagkat ang nagkakausap lang po talaga dyan ay ang mga congressmen or legislators sa lower house saka po district engineer o yung mga contractor. Hindi po ako ano doon sa kanilang sistema doon kung paano. Ba't naririnig ko pong ganun talaga? Yun po.
Alright, panghuling na katalungan na lang po sa inyo, Yusek Bernardo, bago po ako lumipat dito kay Engineer Alcantara. Nabanggit niyo po ang Office of the Executive Secretary na kasama din po dito sa flood control. Ewan ko bakit to sila may flood control. Ang tanong ko po, sino sa Office of the Executive Secretary ang kausap po ninyo? Can you name names?
Mr. Chair, as I've earlier na sinabi ko po, ay si Trigib Olivar po ang kausap ko. Siya lang po nagsabi sa akin nun.
Pero hindi po siya sa Office of the Executive Secretary, Engineer Bernardo. Siya po, the last na chinek ko po ay nasa Department of Education po siya. Wala po siya sa Office of the Executive Secretary. Bakit po ninyo nabanggit na siya, yun ay para, yung kanyang hinihingi ay para sa Executive Secretary, Engineer Bernardo?
Mr. Chair, yun lamang po ang sinabi niya sa akin. Wala po akong...
Senator Tulfo, bukod kay Yusek Olivar, ano, pag sinabing Office of the Executive Secretary, wala ka nakakausap na naka-assign mismo doon sa Office ng Executive Secretary? Wala.
Wala po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, let me direct my question now to Engineer Alcantara. Engineer Alcantara, okay, pagbaba po ng pondo ng politiko sa inyo, ano po nangyayari? Tama po ba? Walk us through with this. Pagbaba ng pondo, sasabihin ng politiko, gusto ko sa kontraktor na ito ang mapanalunin mo. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ano ho nangyayari? Nagkaroon ho ng bidding, etc. May bidding-biddingan pa kunwari. 3, 4 ang maglalaban-laban para kunwari. Pero mananalo at mananalo yung kontraktor ng politiko. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Alright. Ano ho na mangyayari after that? Kailan na po i-execute yung proyekto? Kailan na ang bigaya na komisyon? Kasi may mga balita po ako, nag-a-advance pa ang ilang politiko. Tama po ba yon na humihingi po ng advance ang politiko? Wala pa po yung pondo, laway pa lang ay nagbibigay na ng advance yung kontraktor.
Your Honor, pagdating po dun sa bagay, since sila po yung magkakausap na po, yung contractor and the, hindi po ako knowledgeable kung kailan o magkano yung percent na napag-uusapan po nila, Your Honor.
Pero pagbaba ng pondo, ano ho nangyayari? Pakikwento lang po sa amin hanggang sa ma-execute, kung i-execute ngayon ang proyekto.
Opo, pagbaba po ng pondo, pupunta na po yung mga contractor po sa office. At magko-confirm naman po na yun daw po ay ibinigay sa kanila. So makipag-usap naman po sila doon sa coordinator for the procedure of the bidding. And then ibibid po, i-implement, doon po nangyayari. Pero yung bigayan po nung obligasyon, since sa amin po ang nagpapamigay po talaga, hindi naman po kami. Pagka-congressional allocation po, Your Honor.
Tinatawagan mo ba yung politiko pag sinabi niyang ito yung contractor ko, DE Alcantara o Engineer Alcantara, ito ang panalunin mo? How would you know na yun talaga ang contractor ni congressman o ni senador? Sino? Paano?
Nagbibigay lang po ng listahan po do sa binibigay ko lang po sa chief of staff ko. Ito yung designated na gusto nila. Ilan po yun.
Okay. Tama rin po ba na para kunwari mayroon ka talagang bidding, masunod lang, para hindi masilip ng COA, kailangan may sumali na 3 at 4 pa na contractor. Pero knowing in advance, kailangan manalo na yung contractor ng politiko na yon.
Yes, Sir Honor. Yung mga contractor po na designated, they're the one who will talk to the coordinator po ng mga contractors po, Your Honor.
So, yung bidding po na nagaganap ay bidding-biddingan na lang kung tawagin.
Most probably, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Another question po sa kay...
With the permission of Senator
Go ahead.
Kiko, and
With the
just
permission,
on that point,
Senator Kiko, should
sa
recognize.
page 18 kasi nung affidavit ni Ginoong Bernardo, nakalagay dito, number 141. In compliance with his order, I forwarded the list to Sec Bonoan. He told me that Undersecretary for Planning shall facilitate and ensure the inclusion of these projects in the NEP. So sinama pa lamang sa NEP, tapos 142, Engineer Alcantara gave 10% of the value of the project. Ibig sabihin, wala pa yung proyekto sa baba. Nasa NEP pa lang, may 10% na.
Normally, ganun po, Your Honor, after the listing of the NEP,
Saan galing yung pera?
sa mga contractor po na gustong mag-take ng risk po.
Yan ang nga yung ibig kong sabihin kanina, di ba? May advance na. Kaya yung sinasabi mo na wala kang alam, hindi mo alam, sila nag-uusap, doon pa lang, tama si Senator Pangilinan, may advance na. Sama dito sa statement na binigay na affidavit ni Engineer Bernardo, may advance.
Your Honor, i-differentiate ko lang po if you may. Yung pong binabanggit po ni Senator Pangilinan, yun po yung mga special fund po, hindi po yun yung allocable ng congressman, Your Honor. Doon po sa allocable ng congressman, wala pong ganon. Yun lang pong mga special funds na coming from whether, hindi ko po alam kung whether kay Secretary or kay Yusek Cabral or sa House man po, kung saan po. Dalawa po kasi yan, sir, isang allocable po. Yun po yung fixed allocable na naka-allocate po sa district representative. Yun po yung sinasabi ko, sir, na wala pong advance, wala po kaming knowledge. So, yung mga special release po, yung special request po sa department na bumababa rin po sa NEP, that is not part of the allocable of the district representative. Yun po yung merong ganun po, Your Honor.
All right, quickly na lang, okay, before I move to Yusek Bisnar ng DPWH. 3 beses ka nabanggit dito sa affidavit ni Engineer Bernardo. Sa line 19, line 21, line 24. Tama po ba ito? Itong sinasabi na third quarter 2024, I asked District Engineer Alcantara to prepare a list. Tapos sa line 21, 1.5 billion submitted by Engineer Alcantara. Tapos dito sa 24, Engineer Alcantara ulit, a 25% commission of about 125 million.
Your Honor, sa pagkakatanda ko po, no, lahat po ng nire-request po sa akin ni Boss, pinadadala ko naman po. Probably, baka po naman po magtugma doon sa listahan ko, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Let me move now, Mr. Chair, to Yusek Bisnar. Meron pong akong balita na natatanggap na merong move na yung mga dokumento incriminating ranking officials, politiko, minamagic o nawawala sa mga sunog Tama po ba? Ano na ho nangyayari sa investigasyon na ito?
Your Honor, if you're referring po dun sa nasunog sa Bureau of Research and Standards, na-confirm na po doon na wala pong project documents or bidding documents na naapektuhan. Regarding po yung status naman po ng mga documents sa iba't ibang regional and district offices po ng DPWH, ginawa po ni Secretary Vince na ang lahat para ma-secure po ang mga ito. Isa po sa naunang memo po niya pag upo po niya noong September ay digitize ang mga documents at ipa-secure sa mga regional and district officials, Your Honor.
Did you take a second look dito sa DPWH Bureau of Research and Standards building sa Nia Road? Kasi po, sir, totoo ba ang balita na natanggap po sa aking informante na yung DPWH BRS building na sinasabi nyo na wala mga records, ito po ay dating tanggapan ng ex-wife po ni Engineer Bryce Hernandez na si Engineer Mel Clarice Santo Domingo. Did you look at that angle?
Titingnan po namin,
Titingnan pa
Your
lang po
Honor.
ninyo. Hindi po
narinig po namin yung information na
Alright.
yung former wife po ni Engineer Hernandez ay doon po naka-assign
Okay.
bago po siya nag-submit ng resignation. Pero wala pa pong confirmation kung meron po ba siyang hawak na mga documents pertaining po sa mga flood control and other infra projects, Your
Okay,
Honor.
pakitignan lang po, ano po, Yusek Bisnar, ano po, kasi, well, actually, may mga duda ang ilang mga kababayan natin. I just read this in the newspaper also. Last question na lang po, bilisan na lang po ninyo. Ano po nangyari doon sa tampering sa Baguio City? Yung pinasok po yung opisina ninyo sa Baguio City, destruction of documents sa Baguio City District Engineering Office. Bakit daw po? Tinanong nyo na ba yung tao? Bakit sinira? Bakit sino ba yung sa dokumento na yan? Opisyal ba yung sa dokumento na yan? Mambabatas na naman ba yan? Did you ask? Ano ho nangyari? Ilang buwan na ho yan? What's your report?
Kukunin ko po yung huling report po doon. Ang nakuha po namin is PNP po ang nag-imbestiga nung alleged tampering. For the meantime po, nirelieve na po si District Engineer Sarate ng Baguio City dahil po dun sa allegation na yun, Your Honor.
Kasi nga po, may tampering. Ibig sabihin, may tinatago, di po ba? Siguro, baka may kumausap po sa kanya. So we really need to look into that, Yusek Bisnar. Ano po, hindi po natin ipalawalang bahala. Kasi marami pong nadadamay dito. Siyempre, marami pong gusto magpalusot at ayaw masama rito. So you really need to take a look into that, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
I would need a report from the DPWH. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
We will submit, Your Honor.
The Senate President is recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tama-tama yung nabanggit ni Senator Erwin being the Vice Chairman, yung kangay mga nabanggit. I would just like to manifest na and caution the committee na yung mga natatanggap nating impormasyon maayos naman at ito naman yung mga sinumpaang salaysay, pero there are certain concerns na kailangan we take it as it is. Like for example, pagbanggit ng staff ni ganon, hindi siya, yung staff niya. Di ba? For example, yung kay Senator Grace po, staff ni Grace po yung kausap, hindi si Grace po. Okay, and then also, doon sa percentage supposed to be for Senator Mark, sabi presumably for. Hindi rin sinabi sa affidavit na sa kanya, di ba? Okay. Anyway, just a manifestation for the consumption of the committee pag ina-analyze natin itong mga nakukuha natin mga affidavits at saka mga sworn statements. Now, my real question actually was directed to the former hearing we had
during the time that Senator Marcoleta was the chairman of the Committee on Blue Ribbon, naalala ko lang kasi na hiningi natin yung ledger from Mr. and Mrs. Diskaya, the ledger na hawak nila. As a matter of fact, there is a subpoena, duces tecum issued. So, did you submit it already or can we have it?
Your Honor, nakakulong po ako sa detention. Katunayan nga po sa ICI po nung nakaraan ay humingi po kami ng for law yata ang tawag doon na mahanap ko po sana yung mga ledger na yon. So hindi rin po sila gumawa ng sulat sa Senate po yung ICI. Bali hindi ko po na-comply po, Your Honor.
Si Mrs. Diskaya, di naman siya naka-confine dito sa atin. Hindi ba pwede
Wala po
siya?
siyang, Your Honor, wala po siyang idea dun sa mga, kasi ako po ang may katransaction po dun sa ibang politician po.
Hindi ba pwedeng sabihin kay Ms. Diskaya kung saan nakalagay? So, pwedeng natin pakuha ngayon para andito pa naman tayo. Meron subpoena duces tecum dyan.
Your Honor, wala po siyang idea po dun sa ganong klase ng transaction ko po.
Mr. Chairman, with the permission of the Senate President and the Chairman,
Yes, go ahead,
it
please.
has not, walang kinalaman yung kung alam niya yung transaction o hindi. Kung alam mo nasaan yung ledger, sasabihin mo sa kanya, andito yung ledger, pakikuha at ibigay sa akin. Hindi ba? For the record, Mr. President.
Your Honor, kasi nag-transfer po kami nang nag-transfer sa office po namin. So, hindi po nila, kahit ako din po, Your Honor, hindi ko rin po matansya kung saang bandang particular ng mga lalagyan po namin na ilagay sa dami po ng aming mga documentation.
Yeah, para lang ma-refresh yung memo, with the permission of Senate President, Senator Pangilinan. Joint affidavit yung sinabit nyo noong chairman si Senator Marcoleta, no? Na sinasabi nyo, kayong dalawa nagsasabi, ito ay binibigay namin sa kanila ng cash. Ang bawat transaction ay may karampatang voucher at ledger na nagsasaad ng mga araw kung kailan nila natatanggap. In fairness to the congressmen and in fairness to the committee, kailangan namin yung ledger because mananatili itong say-so o he says, she says itong inyong salaysay. So kaya nga binigyan namin ng pinadala namin ng subpoena duces tecum si Mrs. Sara Diskaya para dalhin niya yung ledger. At inamin niyo na mayroong ledger. It's a matter of record. Public record ito eh. Ngayon sasabihin mo hindi makita yung ledger. Pagka ganyan, baka may mag-move dito, makontempt si Mrs. Diskaya. Magkakasama kayo sa detention center, sa detention cell. Kasi maliwanag, hindi naman ikaw lang nagsabi na may ledger eh. Dalawa kayo. Kasi nga sinumpaan sa salaysay ito eh.
Your Honor, ang binasa lang po ng miss ko doon sa affidavit po ng una ay hanggang paragraph 15 lang po. Hanggang doon lang po siya nagbasa kasi doon lang po yung...
We will excuse you. Sasamahan ka ng Sergeant at Arms para kunin yung ledger and we will wait for you.
Mr. Chair, if I may add.
Yes, Senator Pangilinan.
Yes, yun ang ginawa natin kay Mr. Hernandez. Ipinakita niya na gusto niyang puntahan yung kanyang opisina o kung saan man yung bahay para kunin yung mga dokumento. At si Mr. Diskaya should be able to do the same.
Yeah. Pareho na kayong dalawa, mag-asawa. Pa-escorta namin kayo sa OSAA para magtulong kayong hanapin yung ledger. Kasi kayo rin, sa inyo rin ang galing na mayroong ledger.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I
Senator
may
Pangilinan.
add. Well, Mr. Diskaya, nakakulong na po kayo. Nabanggit na nga po ni Chairman na baka isama na rin po si Mrs. Diskaya. Dahil mukhang nagbibigay ka ng kung ano-anong palusot para hindi mailabas yung ledger. Yun ang dating sa amin sa komite. So sana, kung ayaw ninyong makulong pati si Mrs. Diskaya, yun na ang paraan. Sumunod na lang at ibalik dito yung ledger, kung maaari.
Mr. Chair, with the permission of the Senate President.
Yes,
Yes, I just wanted to find out what happened to the ledger. So I give up on my time, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I share the concern of the Senate President na ni-reiterate ni Senator Pangilinan, ni-reiterate din ng Chairman At ngayon, kaya nila sinabi na i-excuse kayo, Ms. Diskaya, para kunin yung ledger na yan. I just wish to reiterate, Mr. Chair, na sa pagkuha at pagsumite nila ng ledger sa ating komite, kasama po explicitly yung listahan ng mga proyekto nila mula 2016 hanggang 2022 na hiningi ko po nung nakaraang hearing. Top contractor po, Mr. Chair, mga kasama ang St. Gerard Corporation or Construction sa dating administrasyon. Pero ang sinumite nila, yung mga proyekto lamang kasama ang DPWH para sa Alpha and Omega lamang. Hindi rin po sinumite yung mga proyekto na sakop ng mga joint venture agreements, yung mga JVAs, kasama yung iba pang mga contractors. And that kind of sanitized list, Mr. Chair, would give us nothing. Lalong papatunayan lamang ng mag-asawang Diskaya na hindi sila nakikiisa sa Blue Ribbon Committee na mapanagot at maparusahan yung mga dapat managot at maparusahan. So I request the chair to include explicitly in his ruling regarding Ms. Diskaya a reiteration of this request for them to submit yung pong listahan ng mga proyekto nila kasama ang DPWH, kasama po yung mga joint venture agreements ng lahat ng mga kumpanya nila, St. Gerard, Alpha and Omega at iba pa mula sa mga taong 2016 hanggang 2022. I so respectfully request, Mr. Chair.
Senator Tulfo.
Mr. Chair, tama po yung desisyon siguro. Ang gawin ho natin, pasamahan po itong mag-asawa ng USAA, ng ating Senate Security. Samahan po sa opisina. Hindi po ako naniniwala, Ginang Diskaya, na ito po itatabi nyo lang basta-basta because this is a very important piece of document. Noong una po kayo nandito, sinabi po ninyo, may listahan kayo. Kaya nga po, meron po tayong listahan ng mga mababatas na inimbitahan po natin because nabanggit po ninyo. Kung wala naman ho tayong ipakita, paano naman bumukha ho na naniwala lang ho kami. We need documentation po na nakalista talaga, na tumanggap itong mga taong ito, nakatransact po ninyo. So yun po. And I believe and I hope ito po hindi basta-bastang papeles. Ito po ay dokumento. Nabanggit na ho ninyo. Alam nyo, important document po yung ledger na yun. Kaya hindi nyo po pwedeng, hindi mo alam, naglipat kayo ilang beses. Siguro sa tingin ko, baka tinatago talaga ninyo. Kaya the only way para maniwala kami, samahan po kayo ng aming Senate Security, i-retrieve po ninyo, pwede nyo sabihin yung sekretary nyo, makukulong na si Mrs. Diskaya, ilabas nyo na. Parang awa nyo na, Mrs. Diskaya, sabihin mo sa sekretarya mo, Iha, makukulong na ako, wala na magbabantay sa mga anak namin. Can you do that?
Your Honor, upon my advice of my lawyer po, okay po, wala pong problema. Pero po, baka hindi po lahat siguro dahil syempre,
Whatever is
isa-isahin
available,
po,
okay
kung
lang.
ano po ang available na pwede ko pong makuha kaagad.
Mr. Chairman, sorry. Pero yung ledger, dapat lahat. Baka mamaya yung ledger, tatanggalan mo ng 3-4 na pahina kasi hindi lahat. Hindi ba, Mr. Chairman? Just, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Ejercito.
Mr. Chair, pwede rin naman siguro kung natatakot sila sa security ng anak nila, pwede mo tayo mag-executive session only for that purpose. Or, ang balita rin namin kasi, Mr. Chair, yung mga pinangalanan ni Mr. Diskaya, yung mga hindi daw nagsauli. So, may text messages daw kayo. Baka kahit yung mga text messages, pwede nyo na pakita sa ngayon sa ating chair o sa member ng committee.
Mr. Chair, medyo naguguluhan ako.
Order muna, sandali. Okay. Pumayag na yung abogado mo na sasama kayo ng security ng Senate, di ba? At babalik kayo para dalhin yung dokumento, ledger. Nagpapatunay o nagsusuporta doon sa inyong sinumpang salaysay na may mga kongresista na nakatanggap sa inyo. Yun ang maliwanag, hindi ba, Mr. Diskaya?
Your Honor, hindi lang po congressman, pati po mga
Yes.
ano po,
Yes. Maski sino, lahat.
mga USEC.
Lahat. But before we let you go, sinabi nyo rin sa inyong sinupang salaysay na wala kayong ghost projects, hindi ba?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Okay. Doon sa 421 na inspeksyon ng PNP saka ng AFP, I think Corps of Engineers ito, no, na kasama ng DPWH. Dalawa, di ba sa inyo yung St. Gerard
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. 382.67 million total cost of ghost projects. 4, 2 Southern Leyte, First, saka Region 1, saka Region 4B. Sumunod, meron pa kayong 367.15 total cost of ghost projects. 3 sa Mindoro Occidental, 1 sa Region 4B, 1 sa Zamboanga City. Just for the record, ano? Kasi sinasabi nyo noon, wala kayong ghost project.
Your Honor, hindi po ghost project yung mga lugar na yan. Yung iba po dyan po ay nagkamali lang po ng pinasang
Hindi.
coordinates lang po.
Yan ang depensa lagi ng ano na iba yung grid coordinates pero hindi pwede magkamali yung sumbong sa pangulo grid coordinates. Kasi binangga pa namin ito sa DPWH website na meron ding grid coordinates. Kaya hindi pwedeng ipalusot na magkaiba yung grid coordinates. Anyway, that's just for the record. Sergeant at Arms, kindly escort the couple out of this session hall para kunin yung mga dokumento na kailangan natin. Thank you very much. Yes, where are we?
And the ledger, Mr. Chairman, the ledger.
Yes, understood.
Mr. Chairman, just one procedural administrative matter. When are they supposed to come back? Wala kasing specific time.
Within the day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Baka hindi na bumulik eh. Biro lang.
Where are we? Senate President? Senator Rizon Tiveros, it's your turn.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Gusto ko pong magtanong, since nakapag-manifest na po ako tungkol dun sa listahan na hinihingi sa Diskaya couple, gusto ko pong unang makapagtanong sa kinatawan ni Secretary Dizon. So I see this morning, Mr. Chair, that is Undersecretary Bisnar. So para po sa DPWH, USEC, nasa 50 billion pesos ang ginastos sa flood control projects sa Cebu in just the last 10 years, the last decade. Of that 50B, 26 billion pesos, higit kalahati, just in the last 3 years. Pero sa kabila po niyan, 150 na tao ang namatay. So far, yun yung naitatala. 451 ang sugatan. 100,000 ang walang bahay matapos ang bagyo. Bukod pa po sa naunang lindol. At ilan pa po ang missing. So baka po tumaas pa yung death toll natin. Now, given that scale of investment in the last 3 years, in the last decade, sir, the sheer volume of flood control projects supposedly in place to keep our people safe, bakit po umabot sa ganito? Kamatayan, nasaktan ng tao, nasira yung mga bahay at ibang structures.
Your Honor, ito po mga nasabi na rin po ng ni Secretary Dizon sa mga naunang pahayag niya tungkol sa nangyari sa Cebu. Una po, ang sinabi po niya is despite yung ganito kalaking budget, dami ng flood control projects, ang nakikita po natin sa nangyari is ineffective po yung itong mga proyekto na ginawa sa Cebu. Pangalawa po, meron pong formal report na isasabit po si Secretary in the next few days tungkol po dito sa nangyari to determine yung mga reasons and moving forward, ano po ba ang mga dapat gawin, Your Honor?
Dadako din po tayo dun sa moving forward, pero balik lang po tayo, atras lang po tayo, Yusek, dun sa bakit, no? Na how would you explain this? Obviously, kahit sinong tao, kahit hindi DPWH, sasabihin talagang pambihira sa kabila nung bilyong pisong ginastos sa ilang daang mga proyekto, inabot tayo ng ganito. Sabi niyo po, ineffective yung flood control projects. How would you explain na ganyang karaming project, umabot ng ganyang kalaking halaga, naging ineffective pa nitong nakaraang ilang mga natural and human-made disasters?
Ma'am, yung mga specific explanations will be submitted with the report of Secretary. Ayoko pong mag-speculate at this time kasi po mga technical po yung mga technical engineers po natin ang mismong pumunta po sa Cebu para pag-aralan po yung pangyayari.
Okay, Yusek, ito po, hindi ito speculation. Sabi naman ng NBI, Region 7 Director, maraming substandard flood control projects sa Cebu. At sabi ng gobernador ng probinsya, kung di ghost project, substandard. So nagko-concur ang gobernador at ang NBI Region 7. At si Secretary Dizon mismo, even in advance of nung report na isasubmit nila in the next few days, sabi ni Sec, these are signs of deficiencies, poor planning, and ill-advised decisions. So, pakisabi po sa komite namin, base sa investigasyon nyo so far, ano exactly ang ikinamatay ng mga kababayan natin sa Cebu?
Your Honor, if I may, nandito po yung Regional Director po ng DPWH Region 7. Siya po ang nasa ground at that time. Pwede po bang ipatawag po natin, Your Honor?
Actually, Yusek, I also have some
Yes.
specific questions para po sa DPWH Region 7. Pero just to get,
Yes.
just to pick your brain, pick your heart about this. So, ang ikinabatay ba ng mga kababayan natin sa Cebu ay negligence? Incompetence ba? Outright corruption din ba? Base sa ongoing investigation nyo, ano pong mga temang lumalabas
It
doon?
appears po na it's a combination of all those factors, Your Honor. Sa mga naging testimonies na rin po dito sa Blue Ribbon Committee, nasabi na rin po dahil meron pong mga commitments, meron pong mga advance. Doon pa lang po, makikita po natin na wala pong proyekto na talagang napondohan ng tama. Dahil po lahat po nabawasan na, Your Honor.
Well, salamat sa forthrightness nyo, Yusek, na hindi lang isa, hindi lang dalawa, maaring hindi lang itong tatlong factors, pero ngayon pa lang lumilitaw kahit sa investigasyon ng DPWH, combination of all factors na minamagnify yung gravity no, ng situation at minamagnify yung krimen na nangyari no, laban sa ating mga kababayan doon sa Cebu. And salamat din, taman yung iniugnay dun sa mga detalye nung isa sa mga factor na yun ng corruption na lumalabas pa rin dito sa ating pagdinig. Yung ganyang mga fenomeno ng commitments, dati commitment positibo, dito lumalabas negatibong paggamit, advances, etc. Dahil maling napondohan yung mga proyektong iyon. Dati rin po sinabi ni Sec Dizon, Yusek, sa hearing din na ito, na walang national master plan ang mga flood control project sa bansa. Pero, ayon sa research, may flood control master plan naman, at least para sa Cebu. Meron pala. Gawa mismo ng DPWH kasama ng JICA at finalize po ito 2017 pa. 8 years ago pa po, kasama ang water impounding, watershed protection, irrigation at iba pa. So, mayroon pong konkreto mga components yung inyong master plan ng department with JICA from more than half a decade ago. Ini-implement ba yan? At least ng dating DPWH administration, Yusek?
What appears, Your Honor, is hindi po ito na-implement. And ito rin po yung, again, moving forward, ito po yung kinukonsulta po ni Secretary sa Project NOAA, sa UP, sa DNR, para po finally, although limited po yung flood control projects po natin for 2026, ay ma-implement po natin.
So, salamat Yusek. Hindi in-implement yung pinaghirapang master plan ninyo, at least for Cebu, no? Kasama ang JICA, pinaghirapan ng at pinagastusan ng DPWH. So why was that master plan buried? Or bakit siya nilunod tulad ng pagkalunod ngayon ng ating mga kababayan sa Cebu?
Your Honor, I'll find out the exact circumstances kung bakit po nangyari to. And will report to you, Your Honor.
Salamat po. nilibing ba yung master plan na yan? O pinigilan ba yan? O inayawan ba yan? Ano yung sense ng current leadership sa DPWH na naging ugali ng previous administrations ng DPWH dito sa master plan na dapat sana napigilan yung ganitong kalaking pagdurusa ng mga Cebuano?
What appears, Your Honor, is neglected po yung mga master plans, even nung mga time pa po ni Secretary Singson, Your Honor.
So, hindi natin pwedeng panatilihin yan. Maneglect ang isang master plan na dapat hindi ine-neglect, kundi aalagaan at poprotektahan yung ating mga kababayan, yung mga taxpayers na through the department ay nagbayad para dito at nagbayad sa JICA o sa iba pang partners ninyo. And sa assessment po ng department, USEC, ano naman ngayon ang kailangang tutukan ng DPWH Region 7 sa problema ng baha? May pagka-moving forward na po ito. Meron na po bang nasisimulang makita na dapat na future directions ng DPWH sa Region 7 kung hindi man sa iba pang mga rehiyon na flood affected din?
Yes, Your Honor. Kasama na dito yung mga river basins na nabanggit na rin po ni Secretary. And all other measures po na to prevent po itong mga flash flood na nangyari, Your Honor.
And tama po kayo, Yusek, kasi yung mga river basins, sa pagkaalala ko, ay naging basehan, kumbaga baseline, topographical, geological data ng mga master plan na binuo ng inyong department. Hindi lang po sa Cebu, pati po dito sa NCR, lumabas po sa isang naunang hearing kaugnay ng mga flood control projects sa Quezon City na nag-fail din. Pati po mga master plan ninyo, halimbawa sa Central Luzon, na kinataka ng aming komite sa kabila ng may regional flood control master plan ay bakit nangyari itong pagbabaha nitong mga huling panahon sa Bulacan at sa iba pang mga probinsya sa Central Luzon. Then, Yusek, ayon mismo sa batas, may pananagutan ang contractor sa mga kababayan nating napinsala. Pananagutan in terms of defects in construction, use of construction materials, inferior materials, o violation of contract. So unang tanong ko po sa mga isyong ito, Yusek, makakasingil ba ng danyos ang mga pamilyang namatayan o nasaktan o nawalan o nasiraan ng bahay sa palpak at substandard na infrastructure?
Ma'am, ayaw ko pong pangunahan yung legal po ng DPWH, pero as a personal opinion po, I think po meron po silang kinalaman at dapat po rin silang managot dito sa nangyari sa Cebu, Your Honor.
Salamat, Yusek. I hope yung ganyang ethical sense nyo mag-guide din o maging input din sa legal ng DPWH sa pag-consider ng tanong na ito. Dahil ito po ay magiging consistent kung sakali dun sa lumabas na sa aming komite na may obligasyon ang mga contractor sa gobyerno dahil sa pagkakaroon ng warranties, dahil sa pagkakaroon ng period, depende sa ganong kapermanente ang mga proyekto, 1 year ba, 5 years ba, isang dekada ba, na accountable pa rin sila para sa quality at para sa durability ng mga proyektong ito. At hinding-hindi contrary doon kung magsasabi ang DPWH Legal na mayroon din silang sagutin itong mga contractors, pati sa mga kababayan nating nadamay. And I will be more specific here, Yusek, ano po, would you agree, would the department agree na hindi lang ito simpleng pagkakamali, kundi malinaw na gross negligence?
Overall, Your Honor, ako on a personal basis is I do agree with your observation, Your Honor.
And again, Yusek, I hope itong personal sense nyo bilang isa sa pinakamataas na opisyal ng department would also help guide yung legal ng department sa pag-consider ng mga isyong ito. I would venture even further para itanong kung sang-ayon kaya ang department at least i-consider na ang nangyari ay homicidal negligence. At dahil doon, dapat talagang bigyang danyos ang mga kababayan nating nawala ng buhay ng kanilang mga mahal sa buhay dahil sa kapalpakan ng contractors.
Yes, Your Honor.
Salamat, Yusek. Dako naman po ako, Mr. Chair, sa isang specific na pambihirang fenomeno na bumulaga sa atin nitong nakaraang mga bagyo. Doon po sa The Rise at Monterasa sa Barangay Guadalupe, Cebu City, kung saan binaha ang mga residente, hindi sa taas, sa paanan ng bundok. Sabi po ni Secretary sa media, didiretsuhin ko na pinagkakitaan ang proyektong ito. Ano pong ibig sabihin ni Sec doon?
I do not want to second guess the Secretary, Your Honor. Let me clarify the matter with him, and I'll inform you before the hearing ends, Your Honor.
Salamat para doon, Yusek. Pero kahit hindi particular sa The Rise at Monterasa, kapag sinabi ng Secretary ng Department about any development, any project na pinagkakitaan iyon, paanong nasabing pinagkakitaan?
Your Honor, I am not privy to the project in in Cebu, the Monterasas. I believe the regional director of DP, R.D. Villa, will be more competent to discuss the specifics, Your Honor.
Salamat, Yusek. I will get to, as I mentioned earlier, DENR Region 7. Baka sa second round ko na, pero sa last quarter minute ko, follow-up question sa DENR kung nandito po yung Environmental Management Bureau. Opo. Hindi lang ng Region 7, pero ng national. Or kung wala, kahit ng Region 7. So is that, Ma'am Abrera, tama po ba? Yes, ma'am. So yung one follow-up question ko po sa itong unang round ko, hindi naman po nagkulang ang pagbabala, hindi lang ng iisang tao but several people, about the structural design niyang subdivision ng The Rise at Monterasa. And their warnings were that this would endanger the environment around the development and the community at the bottom of that mountain. So now, after the storms, after the floods, it's coming out na there were not just one but several, even many violations. So, una po, my last question for this round. Sino po ba yung nagbulag-bulagan sa DNR at DNR EMB para mag-grant yung environmental compliance certificate nito? Yes, Mr. Chair, Ma'am Abrera.
Hello, Your Honor. Sa nagbulag-bulagan, hindi ko po masasagot yan. Ang ICC po ng Monterasa has gone through the whole process of EIA. Kompleto po yan, public scoping, technical reviews. It has undergone 4 technical reviews instead of 3. And then public hearing. Then there is an independent body which recommended for the approval. So 2007 and 2024 po siya.
In closing for my first round, Mr. Chair, before I give way to Senator Pangilinan, hindi ko po matanggap na hindi nyo masagot sa nangyari at sa scale niya, sa tindi niya. By now, you should be gathering some answers, hindi lang para sa publiko, pati para sa department ninyo moving forward. So I will follow up on my questions about this, Mr. Chair, sa second round. Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tiberos. Senator Pangilinan is recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yung unang request kay Yusek Bernardo, you already provided annexes, no, as to itong mga projects, but you also provided percentages as to yung mga nakolekta, 20, 25, 15, 10. Pwede nyo ba, for submission na lang, isuma magkano ang base dun sa mga porsyentong nabanggit nyo at yung project cost, magkano ang kabuoang kickback sa buong sa buong ano ninyo, no, sa buong salaysay ninyo. No? Kasi mayroong 15 billion over 3 years, tama? 5 billion, 5 billion, 5 billion, tapos may 15% per year, no? So gusto ko lang malaman yung lawak, no, ang estima. Can you do that for us? Have it submitted?
Mr. Chair, regarding that po, can I ask my counsel for a while?
Yes, sure. It's just a matter of doing a summing up of all your all of the receipt, 15%, not only of you, no? Lahat nung mga nabanggit nyo, it doesn't have to be exact because we can always cross-check it anyway. Pero yung parang ano lang, isuma nyo lang, no? Kasi siyempre kayo ang nakakaalam eh. Baka kami teka muna, pag tinignan namin, isusuma namin, baka hindi maging as accurate, no? Yun lang actually. But go ahead if you need to seek advice of counsel.
Mr. Chair, I was advised by my counsel to seek the permission of the Prosecutor General regarding that. Please.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, insofar as the request made by the Honorable Senator Pangilinan, I believe that would be considered covered by the confidentiality also because this is indicated in, there may be some matters which are indicated in the memorandum of agreement that was signed by Yusek Bernardo with the Witness Protection Program as represented by the Secretary of Justice. So the only way that it can be released or can be disclosed is if there is written authority coming from the Secretary of Justice himself or if there is any order coming from a competent court, sir.
Can we request the Secretary of Justice for that order? Because this is in aid of legislation and we would like to have the information for this committee.
We will make that representation, Mr. Chair, with the Secretary of Justice if the same can be the subject of a written authority. And I would suppose that if any disclosure would be made, if it can be done in an executive session, sir.
Understood, understood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
But this is a public document.
Yes, sir.
So can we perhaps, with your assistance, whatever is made available here should be made available to us without need of Secretary of Justice's permission. I mean, whatever figures were mentioned here, hindi ba? I am only pertaining to this. I'm not pertaining to whatever other information he has with him or personal knowledge that he has not provided for in this affidavit.
Well, I believe, Mr. Chair, that with respect to the numbers or the percentages which are stated in the affidavit that was read by Undersecretary Bernardo, a mathematical computation can already be made of the totality.
Yes,
but,
yes.
As to the specifics, I'm
Okay.
referring to that, Mr. Chair, insofar as the confidentiality
Just the
issue is.
mathematical totality and maybe perhaps per item. You know, he had several numbers per subject. There are several subjects. So one subject, for example, in the case of Undersecretary Maria Catalina, delivered cash. I mean, as best as he could recall, kung maaari. So in that case, you are allowing him as long as it is limited to what he already divulged. in his-
Senator Pangilinan, if I may. We were just informed by our General Counsel, si Attorney Gerard Mosquera, na as far as WPP is concerned, ang limitation lang sa disclosure is wag mag-contradict at wag mag-recant doon sa kanyang affidavit as submitted to the DOJ for purposes of admission. As I understand, admitted na yata si Yusek Bernardo, di ba? Kaya he's now constrained to limit his testimony to what the DOJ has advised him to do. Tama po ba yan?
That is correct, sir. And in fact, Yusek Bernardo has been given provisional admission already to the Witness Protection Program, sir. That is
Yes.
why there are restrictions already.
I was also informed by Secretary Bida yesterday that he has given authority for him to disclose information before this committee. So probably, kung estimate lang naman ang hinihingi ni Senator Pangilinan, baka naman pwedeng, hindi naman hard and fast rule as to the amount, ano? Maski estimate lang, just to satisfy the good senator and the
Yes,
committee.
yes, Mr. Chair. That is why I already acceded to the request that was made earlier, insofar as it is a general mathematical computation of what is stated in the affidavit. Yes, there is an authority that was given by the secretary, but it limits also the matters that can be discussed and brought out by Yusek Bernardo, sir.
Yeah.
But as far as the request is concerned, we can, I believe, accede to that.
Thank you. We respect that, PG. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we hope it'll just be a rough estimate of the amounts involved, the percentages total. Kasi yung sinasabi lang dun kay Mr. Bonoan, Secretary Bonoan, 5 billion every year for 3 years. So that's 15 billion. And then ang ballpark figure is average 15%. So 15% of 15 billion is 1.5 plus 750. So 2.25 billion yung kickback. Para yung komisyon, di ba? Yun ang lumalabas. Doon lang sa 3 taon, no? At yes, yung personal 15% allocation. That's why we'd like to see ano ba yung universe doon sa no. So thank you. Nabanggit mo yung sa inyong Mr. Bernardo. Napansin natin na sabi nyo, from time to time, meron kayong binibigay kay Yusek Cabral. Pay line 134 na cash. Yung iba detalyado, yung kay Yusek Cabral, walang specific amounts. Why is that? Bakit?
Mr. Chair, I have to really come back to whatever is available records because just like as I mentioned in my affidavit, there were releases for, let's say, for the EDSA road projects, lump sum. Now, I have, being a retired USEC from the DPWH, I have not yet recovered the notes or the SARO.
Yes,
of
but
this-
okay, I understand. Pero halimbawa, delivered cash. On one instance, how much cash was that? In one delivery?
As far as I can remember po, meron pong 5 million, 7 million.
Ano yung pinakamalaking delivery?
I think more than 10 million, but I really cannot.
I just wanted that clarified, no? Kasi hindi na-specify. But okay, sino pala si Engineer Opulencia?
Right now, he was appointed po as regional director of NCR, but I was informed that he is no longer the regional director of NCR.
Okay.
So he is assigned to I think to a USEC or in the department. As far
So
as I
he's still there?
know. Yes, sir.
Okay. Maybe please inform your head of agency, Yusek Bisnan, based on this testimony, you better have some administrative procedure. No?
Your Honor, actually, he was invited and he
In the
submitted-
case of Regional Director Opulencia, we will issue subpoena for the next hearing because he was invited and he's not here. So, issue natin ng subpoena for the next hearing.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Well, in relation to that, Mr. Chairman, perhaps even Yusek, Trigiv, and Cabral, again, should be invited. But yung okay. Napansin ko din, Ginoong Bernardo, na on the section ng mga congressman, 3, no? Bakit hindi very general? Wala unlike yung mga sa senador. Is that parang I'm just looking at the difference, no? Kinokumpara ko yung testimony ninyo. Pagka yung mga senador mahaba, which is revealing, of course. Pero sa mga congressman, parang kulang. 1, 2 sentence lang. Ganun. Why is that?
Mr. Chair, As of now po, I have not really identified the projects which were downloaded to those congressman, Mr. Chair. Hindi po ako makarecover pa ng kwan. But I remember that there were projects that were really downloaded in their districts. Gusto ko lang din po makasiguro, mahirap po kasi na mag-identify ako ng project na hindi po talaga sa kanila napunta, sa kanilang distrito. So, Mr. Chair, given the time and more time, maybe I can identify po those projects.
So when you say I submitted projects being proposed by her, this was proposed by her, and this is a Kahayon, Robes, no? Proposed to you?
Yes, no, Mr. Chair. Because the district engineer was the one who was coordinating with them. So they have request to the district engineer to really source out project funding for those projects, and then maybe she was trying to look for possible sources, like if I have proponents, I can help them. So
Yes.
yun po yung ginagawa niya.
So ito ba dahil, yun na nga, pagka-congressman sa distrito, ganun ba yun?
Doon po yun, Mr. Chair. Doon po yun, Mr. Chair.
Kaya, unlike sa Senate, hindi district engineer ang kausap, tama ba yun?
There were
Ikaw
times
mismo,
likewise po na meron din pong sa district engineer, Mr. Chair.
Pero pagka ganun, basta ang parang general rule is pagka-congressman, direkta sa district engineer. Kasi
Parati pong the usual thing po, Mr. Chair.
That's the general rule.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
And for the senator, it does not necessarily go straight to the district engineer. Then it goes to you. That's why mas detalyado. Tama ba yun?
Apo. Mr. Chair, most of the times ganun po. Pero I think there are also, let's say, senators po or kwan, na kakilala naman po yung
Yes.
district engineer. Meron pong ganun. Minsan po, senador, kakilala rin yung contractor. So, meron pong ganun.
Okay. Balikan ko lang yung allocable. Ano yung, parang, ano yun, inalok? Pero, pagka pwedeng allocable. No. Pagka, may pagkakaiba yung allocable sa distrito at yung special, tama ba yun, Ginoong Alcantara?
Sir, regarding allocable, department po ang may formula nun, hindi po ang district office.
Again, ano
Department po yung nagpo-formulate. Hindi po kami.
Hindi ang district.
Yes po.
Kasi sabi mo nga, may distinction between yung distrito na pondo at yung department na pondo.
Yes po. Yung, kumbaga po,
Kasi dito sa yung sinasabing you gathered, you collected 15%. Hindi ba? Yun, hindi yun sa distrito. Tama?
hindi po yun regular allocable ng district representative.
Yes. And therefore, pag sinabing sa testimonya ni Mr. Bernardo, Ginoong Bernardo, na yun nga, Alcantara gave 10% of the value of the projects. Binigay mo kanino ito? Ito, 142. In compliance with his order, Secretary Bonoan, he told me that Undersecretary for Planning Maria Catalina shall facilitate and ensure. Ibig sabihin, nasa NEP pa lang, kumukolekta na ng 10% at binibigay na. Tama?
If that is not the allocable, yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay. Yan yung, anong tawag doon? Special? What is it called? Former USEC Bernardo.
Kung mapapansin niyo po, Mr. Chair, I have mentioned about Yusek Cabral's authority
Yes.
over all these things. Ang ginagawa po ni Yusek Cabral, actually, Yusek Cabral po was the one who made the formula regarding the allocable of every congressman. Na ang formula pong yun, ay kahit kailan po ay hindi na ipaliwanag sa amin ni Yusek Cabral.
Okay.
Kahit po kailan, alam ko na those congressmen were asking, bakit ka dumating sa ganitong formula? Paano yung ginawa mo? Ito po, kumbaga sa engineering, yung formula po, meron pong constant, merong variable, merong equation, pero siya lang po ang nakakaalam. So, yun po ay the allocable of every congressman. Let's say in Manila po, initially, congressmen of Manila are being given an allocable of 500 million lang. Yun po, meron pong distrito na mas malaki, meron pong mas maliit, meron pong maliit na distrito. Considering daw po yung population, meron pong performance ng district, merong geopolitical, marami po kinukonsider pero napaka-wide po yung universe ng kanyang ginawa. So, when it turned out, nagbigay lang po siya ng allocable amount sa bawat congressman. Ayun.
Yes, and this is, I'm trying to understand, no? Kasi nasa NEP pa lang, yung allocable, hindi sa NEP. Tama ba yon? Yung allocable, pag may budget na, na-approve na sa GAA, na medyo nalilito ako.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Yung pong allocable na yun, sa NEPA lang po yun. I mean, each congressman are being apportioned of the budget for every district, congressional districts that they within their area of jurisdiction. Doon po yun ina-identify. Let's say, ang isang distrito po, meron po siyang allocable na 1 billion. Yun po yung kanyang
Okay,
congressman.
I understand. So therefore, since nasa NEP pa lang, ang mga nag-a-advance ng 15%, 10%, yung contractor. Hindi galing, tama ba yun? Kinukolekta, wala pang budget Wala pang, hindi pa approve yung budget ng DPWH. So wala pa sa departamento yung pondo. Pero nakakakolekto na si Ginoong Alcantara. Tama?
Mr. Chair, as far as I recall, the statements of Engineer Alcantara refers to the allocable na hindi daw po nag-a-advance yun. Kanina po niya sinabi. Dahil yun daw po ay allocations ng mga congressmen. So in his district, ewan ko po kung marirecall niya yung sinabi niya kanina na hindi daw po nag-a-advance yung mga yun kagad sa allocable ng congressmen. Yun po narinig ko sa kanya.
Yes po, Your Honor. Basta po yung allocable, wala pong ganun. Allocable. Doon po sa mga
Sino naglalabas ng pondo? Sa district?
sir, ganito po, if I may explain.
Sino nag-a-advance? Kasi NEP pa lang sino di ba? May naglalabas ng pondo, hindi gobyerno. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, hindi po allocable. Pag hindi po allocable, doon po, yung mga contractor po nagde-take risk sila na if they can make an advance. Hindi po allocable, sir. Kumbaga po, sir, halimbawa po, sir, yung NEP ganito kalaki, ang allocable nandito lang po. Ito pong mga excess of, tatawag pong over and above the allocable, yun po yung mga, iba po yung mga nagbaba, Your Honor.
And sino doon sa mga contractor na nag-a-advance dahil hindi pondo ng gobyerno yan, dahil yun na nga, parang ina-advance nila para ma-coordinate na siguro yung project, di ba? May listahan kayo niyan? Ginoong Bernardo? Sino yung mga contractor na yan?
Mr. Chair, doon po sa case po, halimbawa po ni Engineer Alcantara at nila Engineer Opulencia, sila na po ang bahala kung sa case po ni Engineer Alcantara, siya po yung, I think, hindi ko po alam kung sino ang kausap niya doon, basta't ang nangyayari po doon, sa district level po, kung ano man po yung on top of the allocable, na halimbawa po yung na-download sa kanila, yun po yung kanyang tinatrabaho kung sino po yung kausap nila.
Okay, just to be clear, yung picture nung maraming pera na nilabas ni na Bryce, na magkano ang estimate niya nun? Saan galing yun? Kanino galing yun? Sa contractor o sa DPWH?
Your Honor, sa contractor po yun. Yun po yung, I think sa pagkakatanda ko, that's the 579 million. Yun po yung kay Kong Saldi na initial na, I think 2020, hindi po 2022, 2023, no? Kasi po, mayroon pong i-advance sa 10% doon sa 5.79 billion. The initial release po.
Contractor.
Po.
Yung SIMS?
Hindi po, ano sir. Marami po yun sir.
Marami.
Opo.
Okay. Sige, thank you. So yung maraming listahan na yun, pwede ba i-submit sa atin, Ginoong Bernardo? Do you have a list of sino itong mga to na pwedeng i-submit sa atin based on your knowledge? I would assume, no? Kasi sa'yo binibigay Kinukolekta inuutos mo kay Alcantara, tapos si Henry ang kumukolekta. Ang daming he gave. Wala kang listahan nung sino-sino itong mga nagbibigay?
Mr. Chair, may I be permitted to again
Yes.
consult with my counsel?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you po, thank you po.
Yes, contractors ang nagbibigay, nag-a-advance.
In the meantime, na nagko-consult, tanungin ko lang si Engineer Alcantara.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Sino una nakakilala sa inyo kay Saldico? Ikaw o si Yusek Bernardo? Sino nagpakilala kanino?
I think, si Yusek Bernardo po ang mas nauna kaysa po sa akin, Your Honor.
So that explains kung bakit tinanong siya ni Saldico kung maayos kang kausap.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ano ba ibig sabihin ng maayos kausap? Anong context nun? Maayos kausap sa...
Siguro, sir, doon sa...
Pakituloy mo nga,
Sir, siguro doon sa po sa
lagayan
pag-deliver po nung...
ng pera.
Opo, yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the reason why I'm raising the question about the contractors is obviously, we're mentioning politicians and rightly so dahil yan ang katotohanan, yan ang based on their testimonies. Pero yung mga contractor na iba, hindi nababanggit. No? Hindi naman siguro sina Diskaya lang yun. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, again, may I, the Prosecutor General regarding this issue? If,
Well, just to shortcut the process, sige, if it can be submitted to us and it will be confidential, and if we are to divulge anything, it will be under executive session. Under those circumstances, and will the information be provided this committee?
Well, at this time, Mr. Chair, the testimony of the witness insofar as the question which is being asked might affect the application, because this would also pertain to other cases that may be filed, and there may be witnesses whose security may be put at risk. So insofar as that is concerned, we cannot, Mr. Yusek Bernardo will not be making any disclosures. But then again, Mr. Chair, we will make representations with the Secretary of Justice if the same can be authorized in an executive session, sir.
Yes, please, so that we get a better sense of what's going on.
We will do that, Mr. Chair.
Because we are also looking at legislative initiatives or remedies to address precisely this collusion. No?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will do that, sir.
Thank you. I have 28 seconds. Yes, siguro, Yusek Bernardo, meron ba tayong, kung merong mga nakakontak at naka-assign sa Senado, is it Yusek Cabral who's also assigned naman sa mga congressman? Tama ba yun? Is that my understanding? PLLO ba is kasama ba rito?
Mr. Chair,
DLLO pala, sorry.
Mr. Chair, meron pong kami parang kamukha po ni Joy Manginsay yata. When I was still in the department, siya po yung taga-liaison officer po ng DPWH sa Congress. Yun po yun.
What is her name?
Joy Manginsay. ASEC Joy Manginsay po. ASEC Joy. If I still remember, I can remember siya po yung
Siguro pangarin ding imbitahin sa susunod na hearing, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Ginoong Bernardo. Siguro isa na lang, Mr. Chairman, and it is really more of an administrative matter, because some of the witnesses are not here, and if they are not here, maybe the committee can explore possible other legal processes, or such as written interrogatories, which are under the rules of court. We are suppletory naman yung rules of court sa ating rules. Written interrogatories for those who are not here, because we will be having 2 weeks or almost 3 weeks of budget debates. In the meantime, we are still continuing to gather evidence. baka pwedeng i-consider ng ating committee, Blue Ribbon Committee, yung modes of discovery. Yan yung written interrogatories, no?
Yeah.
Oo. Yeah. But thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank
Before I
you, Mr. Chair.
recognize Senator Marcoleta, bago natin iwanan yung allocable, kailan ba nagsimula ito? Parang hindi kami familiar eh. Josec Bernardo, in your 40 years, kailan to kaninong, sinong secretary nagsimula itong allocable?
I think, nung pong hindi ko po sure kasi nung naririnig ko po yan nitong panahon na ng nung dumating po si Secretary Bunoan na wherein of course there will be changes in the leadership.
Kasi we were here hanggang 2022. Wala kami narinig na allocable eh.
Yes po. Yes
So,
po, Mr. Chair.
sinasabi mo, panahon na ni Secretary Bunoan,
Opo.
na-coin niyang allocable, whatever that means.
Noon lang po nila tinawag siguro yung allocable because
Pero in practice,
yun po yung practice kasi
in your
nga
40 years, kailan nagkakaroon ng ganyan? Kailan nagsimula?
nung pong mga ako po natatandaan ko po nung district engineer ako merong mga apportioned projects na po ng mga congressmen gano'n nung panahon po na yun. So tingin ko po nung pa po meron yung pork barrel pa po yata ang tawag doon eh. So yun po yung panahon na yun na noon ako nakakaalam na merong certain amount intended for each legislators. Yun po.
Senator Marcoleta is recognized.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. I was a little bit excited this morning, Mr. Chair, nung makita ko yung 7th public hearing dahil nakita ko dun sa witnesses and resource persons. Yung new invitees is Congressman Ferdinand Martin Romualdez Sr. Only to be disappointed na hindi ko po siya nakita ngayon. And I also note, Mr. Chair, na ginamit po niyong basis, yung sulat po sa inyo ni Speaker Faustino Bojidi. Mr. Chair, hindi ko po masyadong makuha ang ibig sabihin ni Speaker Boji ng ito ang ginamit nila na para hindi padaluhin ang mga miyembro ng House of Representatives, subjecting them to a simultaneous legislative inquiry on the identical subject could potentially prejudice the findings of the ICI. Pasensya na po, Mr. Chair, pero hindi ko po talaga maintindihan yun. How can the findings of the ICI be prejudiced by their presence here? As a matter of fact, kahit na identical pa ito, ang atin pong mandate is in aid of legislation. And the ICI, I don't know what is their mandate. So hindi po siya siguro justification. As I said, I was excited, pero ngayon po, kasi mas maganda sana kung nandito siya. It could have been more substantial sana. Having said that, Mr. Chair, siguro isang araw na-process na natin ito kung ano ang dapat gawin talaga sa mga invitees na to. More particularly, the members of the House of Representatives that were initially mentioned at some point in several testimonies of the respondents that were invited by this committee. May I now proceed, Mr. Chair, to Engineer Bernardo. Kagaya po ng napansin sa pagtatanong ni Senator Kiko, ako din ay ganun din ang aking observation. Merong bahagi ng iyong salaysay na talaga namang very, very descriptive, talagang even the minutest detail. Ito'y mapapatotohanan sa dami ng mga pahina at mga saknong na binanggit mo. Kung halimbawa pag-uusapan, Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Ramon Rebillan, talagang, kumbaga sa comics, wala ka nang hihilingin pa. Nandun na lahat. Pero pagdating sa bahagi ng mga congressmen or congresswoman, tipid na tipid ka. Halimbawa, yung Congressman Saldico, wala ka man lang sinabi tungkol sa Magkano ang hiningi, ilang projects ang napunta rito, ilang porsyento. Kung paano mo dinescribe yung mga naunang senador na binanggit mo, iniisip namin ni Senator Kiko na dapat ganun din sana. Sa ganung paraan, makikita mo talagang walang pinagtatakpan, malinaw, na ibahagi mo talaga yung nalalaman mo. Lalong-lalo na sa'yo, naintindihan ko sa tagal ng iyong paglilingkod sa DPWH, ikaw ay sagana na sa karamihan ng eksperyensya at pakikipag-ugnayan sa maraming tao, kaugnay ng iyong trabaho. Ito po, Mr. Chair, litaw na litaw, binanggit tatlong congressman and congresswomen dito. Talaga pong napakatipid po ninyo. Sa makatwid, dito lang po ay kung ako ihahatol dito, meron po kayong deliberately na parang hindi na gusto pang ihayag yung maaring nalalaman po ninyo. Kaugnay po nito, Mr. Chair, nung tinatanong din ni Senator Kiko, kahit na mathematical lang or arithmetical estimation, kung talagang napakahalaga po nun eh. Initially, ito po yung mga nasa notes ko din. Nagkakaisa pala kami ng direksyon ng pagtatanong. Bakit kinakailangang sangguniin mo ang abogado mo at pagkatapos ay makikipag-ugnayan ka kay Prosecutor General? First of all, Mr. Chair, I want to know if the Prosecutor General was invited in this meeting.
May I respond, sir?
Yes, PG Padulan.
I did not receive any personal invitation, Mr. Chair, but I was directed by the Secretary of Justice to appear in today's hearing to represent him, sir.
That is my problem, Mr. Chair. Ito po, nalilimitahan yung kakayahan ng committee ito na magpahayag ang mga respondents. Katulad nung tinatanong ni Senator Kiko, at yun doon gusto kong maitanong, bakit kinakailangan po na pigilan siya at some point on the things that he might be able to shed light to this committee? Ano ngayon kung halimbawa tamaan yung mga ibang tao sapagkat ito naman ay pagsasalaysay ng kanyang buong nalalaman? Ang totoo niyan, indicative na sa mga ibang pinagsasabi niya rito na gusto niya talaga. Gusto niyang ihayag ang buong katotohanan. Pero dahil ba sa he is a potential applicant to Witness Protection Program, may influensyahan, malilimitahan ang kanyang exposure dito. Ito po yung hindi ko maintindihan, Mr. Chair. Why is the Department of Justice at some point is interfering in the proceedings of this committee? This is something that we should probably process. Kung ganun pala yun, hindi malayang supplemental affidavit ito. This is questionable to the very least. Ang sabi mo rito, Engineer Bernardo, statements of facts applicable to all. Sa Tagalog, pagsasalaysay na applicable sa lahat. Tama. Hindi kita narinig.
Sorry po, Mr. Chair. Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Kung ito'y pagsasalaysay ng applicable sa lahat, katulad ng binabanggit mo sa paragraph 9, I can confirm based on my personal knowledge that in some form or another or in various extents, most proponents have their own designated contractors who will take on the projects for the former's benefit and advantage. Sometimes other proponents would request me to suggest contractors for them who are known to me or referred to me by friends and other personalities. These are situations that national and local elected politicians would request me to source projects for them. Di dapat ihayag mo rin lahat. The problem is, there is a prosecutor general who is not very interested in prosecuting people. He's very selective, Mr. Chair. This is something that is objectionable.
May I be allowed to respond, Mr. Chair?
You may respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I take exception to the observation of the good senator that the Department of Justice is interfering in the investigation being conducted by the committee. In fact, Mr. Chair, whatever limitations there are to the testimonies of this witness who is present here is not something which is being dictated by the Department of Justice, but by law that is covered by Republic Act 6981, particularly Section 7 thereof. It is not our intention to restrict his testimony, as in fact,
For
he
our
said-
education, kindly tell us what Section 7 is about.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Section 7 of RA 6981 clearly states confidentiality of proceedings. All proceedings involving application for admission into the program and the action taken thereon shall be confidential in nature. No information or documents or given or submitted in support thereof shall be released except upon written order of the department and of the proper court. Any person who violates the confidentiality of said proceedings shall upon conviction be punished with imprisonment of not less than 1 year, but not more than 6 years, and deprivation of the right to hold a public office or employment for a period of 5 years.
How can that provision apply?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we believe it will apply.
How can it apply? Tinatanong lang ni Sec Kiko, ni Senator Kiko, tinatanong lang namin, magkano ba lahat? How does provision apply?
Mr. Chair, any matter pertaining to the...
No. I'm not talking about any matter. Senator Kiko and myself is only trying to extrapolate gaano ba kalawak, the magnitude of this whole thing, para magkaroon lang kami ng mental picture about this.
To explain that, Mr. Chair, if I
How
may be
can
allowed.
that provision apply? Why would you limit the witness from telling at least an idea of how much it is?
Mr. Chair, in the earlier proceedings, the question asked by Senator Pangilinan was already addressed by this representation when we said that the witness may openly give a mathematical computation of what is based in the affidavit. There was no restriction given by the Department of Justice. I think that is on record, Mr. Chair.
Okay, why are you intervening?
Of the provisions of the law on confidentiality, sir. That is why it was referred to us. It was referred to us by the witness because he has
The
a
matter of
memorandum of
giving us an
agreement.
estimate is a confidential matter?
No, precisely, Mr. Chair. That is the reason why we had already acceded to the request of Senator Pangilinan.
Mr. Chair,
With the permission of Senator Marcoleta.
Just a point of information for our colleagues. Yes, actually, I precisely pointed out that it's already a public document that was submitted to us, and all that Mr. Bernardo would do is to make a mathematical computation of, or an estimate, diba? A ballpark figure of the amounts that may have been, total amounts that may have been involved, based solely, no, and within the confines of the affidavit, and therefore I was satisfied. But yes. And the DOJ said they will submit. They have allowed, or they will be submitting, or they have agreed that Mr. Bernardo, their witness, will be submitting and address my request.
may I continue, Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, I'm surprised that an applicant to be processed under the WPP has the effect of limiting his testimony before this committee. This is a different matter altogether. Mr. Bernardo is being presented here. I think he was invited to shed light to the matters investigated in this committee. Whatever his use as a potential state witness, that is for the Department of the Justice to decide. Hindi dapat mag-conflict itong dalawang ito eh. Yun lamang ang point doon, Mr. Chair. Parang ang nangyayari with the presence of the Prosecutor General here, parang nalilimita yung gusto naming malaman dito. Lahat ng itatanong namin, kinakailangan i-refer sa kanya. O parang ikaw ang director dito, hindi yung chairman. Ito yung parang inconsistent na nakikita ko. Let me continue, Mr. Chair. Engineer Bernardo, hindi lamang ikaw, kundi kahit na si Engineer Alcantara or even Bryce Hernandez and others, palaging binabanggit ang pangalan ni Saldico. Pati yung halaga ng pera, pati mga litrato ng pera na ito ibibigay kay Saldico, ito yung para kay Saldico.